Oh, it's got from Wessex blades. We're doing the scales on the Beserker, and hopefully in the light what you should see is that when we get to that point there where we've took them back apart because they were the wrong way round, we put them the right way round again, and this section here, balancing on the tripod, that there you must finish very good. Okay, because obviously when all the wood's stuck on here and bonded on, the last thing you want to do is start trying to do all your finishing in there. So that in there is finished very well. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, and then what I'm doing now is literally a two-part epoxy. Should be familiar with those sort of syringe things. Bonding both sides on, putting the pins through, putting it in a vise. So both halves in, pins should be just poking through, lanyard hole in, and I've taped up where the handle meets the blade so that the epoxy, when it squishes out, when it goes in the vise, okay, doesn't ooze all over the blade and harden while you're out. So nice bit of tape. I'm using lagging tape for air conditioning sort of insulation, so sort of aluminium with adhesive on. So I'll put it in a vise with a couple of clamps on. Okay, so it's dripping out already, and come back in tomorrow. One extra thing, when you're using these G-clamps, make sure that there's enough gap between the pins, especially when I've done 8 pins. Okay, so they're actually quite close together, and I've remembered to make enough gap, but this section here, that is quite wide, so you need to make sure there's enough gap between the pins so that when this goes on the far side, there's enough room between the pins to get it on. So it's in the vise across the whole bottom. That just fits between the pins. This just fits between all 4 of them. And then that's in until tomorrow. And then obviously, health and safety, you've got the end of the knife stuck out of the end of the vise tomorrow. So you, especially my crowded garage. Okay, the last thing I want to do is fall on that. I want to get something big and meaty to cover over the end. Alright, so you don't fall onto it. Catch in a bit. So I'll put a mess tin over the end, like that. So if you fall on it, all you'll get is a face full of mess tin. So there it is, clamped up in the bench, vise there. So across the bottom, and then these 2 G-clamps are clamping across the top. And come back when it's all sorted. And glue. While that's gluing, I was going to show you something I did, must be 2 years ago now. I've just found it again in the garage. It's an old planer blade from a really old wood power planer, big planer thicknesser. I found one blade on its own, and it was a big drum, big sort of steel thing with 2 blades. I think it was one top and one bottom. It was a really old system of leveling the blades out. Anyway, there was one blade on its own, so it wasn't any use to anybody. And had a huge dent in it, so you buy them as a pair anyway. So what I thought I'd do is, see if I can make a knife out of it. So there's no hardening or tempering, all I did was stock removal on that. And what I did was this. It's one of my first knives ever. Might be yeah, there's a few slip marks, look, missing on the grinder, and overdid it there. But I got that grind there pretty good. On the other side. Sort of a bird and trout sort of effect. But as ever, I put something heavy on the back. Whether or not you do anything with it, I don't know. It's more of when you clean a trout out and you open it out, you have the blood line up where the bottom of the spine is. That was the plan. So you hold the thing like that and you clean the fish out like that in the water, and you just use that sort of rounded pommely tail end there, tail end fish, right? And just to clean the bloodline out of the back of the dorsal cavity where you've gutted the fish. So thought that'd be interesting for you and all that there. Of course, if I wanted to drill it to do scales, I'd have to anneal it. I just could never be bothered. I quite like that as it is. It's perfectly usable, and it's pretty sharp paper. Where's it to? It's a piece of paper. I'm guessing it'll cut. It cuts. It cuts. It cuts. Good enough for doing a dead fish, I suppose. But yeah, one of my first ever knives. Put it like that. Anyway, thanks for all the views lately. There's quite a fair bit of interest with the Beserker as he begins to go. Orders coming in as well. But one thing, if you want an order, could you do something on a PM, like 5 asterisks, knife order 5 asterisks, because then it'll show up a hell of a lot more on my my email, because obviously I'm playing through 500-600 hits a day or whatever. And when the comments come through, if I miss one, I hope I don't upset you like because I've missed it. Okay, so if you're going to PM me and you want a knife order, do something like 5 asterisks, knife order 5 asterisks, and then it'll stand out and jump out for me. Okay, so all the best. Let's go for my 6 blade. Cheers.